So I flew up to Brisbane to attend a convention, and the thing was mostly ruined for me. Guess why? The guests included Tamara Morrison, Roger Craig Smith and Martin Cove, etc. But the main draw was, of course, Anthony Daniels, who was the actor for C-3PO. And now I say unapologetically that he can go to hell, and that I'm gonna rip into him without mercy. So let's begin. He completely and utterly ruined my time at the convention, to the point where I didn't feel like going on the final day on Sunday. The reason why is pretty simple. I, like many others, took time to attend a Q&A panel, and I raised my hand to ask him a question. Having watched the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, I noticed looking back that he made a cameo in the series, and so I wanted to ask him the story behind that. He picked me out of the crowd and I began my question, but then he cut me off before I could finish and casually remarked, "Wrong movie," and a bunch of people laughed. That was the one and only straw that broke the camel's back. He humiliated me in front of a crowd for asking a question, and I left a minute later, not wanting to spend another second listening to him blabber on about himself. My dad came with me on the trip, and he was pretty angry. And so while I was walking back to the hotel, he wanted to have a word with them, but only got as far as one of his assistants, of course. And apparently, he was here exclusively for C-3PO and Star Wars related stuff, whatever that means. Someone else the previous day also tried asking him a question about the 1978 Lord of the Rings animated film, and he ignored that too. I was completely dumbfounded, and it doesn't even make any fucking sense, aside from he only felt like Star Wars, which in the context of attending a convention is just pathetic. It sounds like an ego trip to cast aside literally every other role and focus entirely on the one that was your big break. Everything else be damned. Like, it shows a lack of respect for even your own career. And that's just arrogant on a whole nother level. The previous day too, I saved up around $200 to have him sign my Funko Pop of C-3PO. And something that's extra revealing is how when I mentioned to the people guarding the line that I wanted him to write an additional quote on the side, they told me he, quote, decided he didn't want to do that, which makes a whole lot of sense in hindsight. Previously, I assumed it was because it would take slightly longer to move the line along. But nah, he just didn't feel like it because he was too lazy. Yeah, that's extra screwed up when people are shelling out the most amount of money out of any other guest there. It was fucking bizarre to look back on just how little fucks he gave, when people literally had to get tickets to even get in. Honestly, on top of the unnamed person who had their Lord of the Rings question rejected, I can only imagine the nightmare that unfolded for the employees. They're probably the biggest victims of all, and I salute them for having to put up with them. Now, on the bright side, there was a guy in the row ahead of me who did try and ask me about the question Daniels himself cut me off from asking, so that was kind of him. And I also got to meet Matt Doran, who's known for this particular role.
You wanna buy some death sticks?
Yeah, and he was a complete contrast from Daniels. He actively took time to speak to me and numerous other Star Wars fans, and was far more reasonable when it came to the autograph, which was $160 cheaper, and overall, I am glad to have met him. I even saw the day before that he did a promotional video for the convention, and he openly referenced how a wise man once told him to rethink his life. Yeah, but as you can tell, my main reason for taking the trip, paying for entrance, and autographs, and the hotel room, and my plane ticket too, I was furious. And so my plan now is just to wait until Anthony Daniel dies, and then pawn off the Funko Pop at a profit first chance I get. That may sound crude, but honestly, that's my plan after having to deal with them, so I couldn't care less. I'm also making this video so I can monetize it and make some of the money back through ad revenue. So yeah, that's my complete experience from admiration to hatred. He is so far up his own arse, and it honestly just reminds me of Mark Hamill. I used to think Hamill was a good guy, and maybe he was once upon a time, but now he's a self-absorbed, snobby Democrat who looks down on you if you vote for the Orange Man. So yeah, as the classic saying goes, never meet your heroes. and you'll probably meet heroes in unexpected places, such as Matt Doran and by extension Mark Raats, who was the poster art designer for the original trilogy in Indiana Jones. I also got to speak with him casually and ask him questions about stuff. Like, we spoke about our contrasting opinions on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but you know, it wasn't his job to like the movies he made posters off of. Now this is me venting after going on a holiday, but hey, anything I can do to potentially get Daniels to realize that he is but a small piece in this world is good enough for me. I'm JJ Plagiarisms, and until next time, what are stories but mystery boxes?
Under the mountain, a golden fountain. Were you praying at the Larish Shrine?